Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. This is the post-fight review for the Kubrat Pulev and Rydell Booker fight from California, which was on the Herring and Roach undercard. This was a comfortable points decision to Kubrat Pulev and perhaps one of the dullest and drabbest heavyweight fights of the year. In the latter rounds in particular, it really was like pulling teeth. Booker, he gassed after about 3 rounds and went into a pseudo-survival mode, not able to do much beyond the odd punch, arm punches at best at times, and Pulev just lacked creativity, variation. It really wasn't much beyond a jab and a 1-2. His corner, round after round after round, imploring him to work the body. And when he did on the rare occasion, it was drawing a reaction from Booker, who didn't like it, but Pulev just wouldn't go back to it. It was just headhunting pretty much round after round after round after round. And for those first 3 rounds or so, where it was somewhat competitive, Booker, he looked pretty sharp. He looked decent and he was using his skills, his experience. You know, he's a decent fighter. But coming in at 248 pounds and looking out of shape, and the comparison is Kubrat Pulev, who's roughly the same height, was exactly the same weight. But the two, it's poles apart in terms of the shape that they came in and clearly the conditioning. Kubrat Pulev did the rounds easily enough, whereas Booker, after about 3 rounds, visibly starting to slow down. But also from round 2, his right eye was starting to swell up, either from jabs that Pulev was throwing consistently, or potentially he took a thumb in the eye, because it visibly swelled up quite quickly. And in round 3 in particular, he was pouring at it, and it was looking like it was a real issue. But Booker, after those 3 rounds, didn't really have much of an offense. He was largely allowing Kubrat Pulev to tee off, which of course he was covering up and taking punch after punch, either on the gloves, arms, shoulders, and occasionally Kubrat Pulev would break through the guard or go around it. But in the main, it just became a case of rinse and repeat round after round. There was round 6 where Booker caught Pulev with a very nice right-hand counter, and there were a few decent counters time to time in this fight from Booker, especially early on. But apart from round 6 and early on in the fight, not much to write about for Rydell Booker in terms of his offense and his defense. While he was using some veteran tactics and sort of old manning his way to getting out of the fight, Kubrat Pulev could have done much better. And in general, it really wasn't a great fight to watch. Pulev was being implored by the corner, you work the body, straight right to the body. I think there was 1 left hand to the liver throughout the whole fight, and there was a couple of right hands, but really overall he should have done much better. And it was jab, jab, 1-2, jab, jab, 1-2. It became extremely predictable. And you have to ask yourself, on the strength of this performance, which I didn't really think much of, what sort of chance does Pulev have in a title fight? And after the fight, Pulev actually said his opponent was not bad. He said it was a very nice fight. He said, I controlled the fight. I was the much better boxer, was much better, was world level, was very good, showed everybody that he was world level. And I thought, yeah, he is overestimating the performance. And sure, you can argue, well, he's been out of the ring for about 8 months. The last fight he had, it was against Bogdan Dinu. He obviously had a few different things that popped up after that fight involving Jenny Sushi, a 6-month suspension from the California State Athletic Commission, which he ended up serving, and ultimately that got dropped in the end, allowing him to come back and fight again. But, you know, in terms of rust, I mean, maybe you could make an argument a little bit there, but in general, he just lacked creativity overall. It was just all headhunting stuff. And in terms of him having success at the next level in a world title fight on the strength of that performance, you'd have to think that his opponents, potential opponents, either Joshua or Ruiz, whoever wins that fight, will face him. They really wouldn't be quaking in their boots on the back of that. As for Booker, his weight, his conditioning, it really was an issue. This was Pulev putting the IBF mandatory position on the line, and Booker came in and acted more like a sparring partner. He should have come in much better condition. In terms of the performance against Jermaine Franklin and Kubrat Pulev, I thought he performed better against Franklin, and I thought he looked in better condition against Franklin. He clearly proved, though, he is durable, but at this point in his career, He's someone who can go some rounds, but that's effectively it. There's not much risk when you face a Rydell Booker from the looks of it. But on the strength of that performance, it's not like Kubrat Pulev has really done himself any favours. That's not going to build any buzz for Pulev. It's not going to really do much for his profile, except for fans to say, geez, that wasn't a great performance. And sure, he got the rounds, and maybe he needed them, but there's also, in terms of the performance, he could have done much, much better. What do you make of it? Drop a comment, loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.